right, you bunch of yahoos, strap yourselves in for another episode of Dan and Don's Toxic Masculinity.
In other words, shut up, sit up, and pay attention.
And welcome back, folks, to another episode of Toxic Masculinity. I would normally be introducing my other half, that dastardly mustachioed who hides ham sandwiches and stuff like that up into his mustache there times, Mr. Don Fry, the Predator. But you know, it's a little too late for Don. He got a little sweepy, so he had some fun kind of bury me a little bit earlier. Well, he's not here, so we get to say whatever we want behind his back. So as we move on, tonight's guest, we have Mr. Jermey Elliott. He is all the way from Ontario, Canada, via the Zoom that so many different things are taking place now via the internet. And Jermey Elliott is a combination. He's a martial artist. He's a professional wrestler. Uh, just an all-around good guy is really what he is. And we're going to be talking about a number of different things, martial arts, his own personal training, what he does. But then tonight, the big thing is Jermey has a match coming up with Mr. Suzuki. And we'll be putting up some pictures and stuff like that. But we'll start in here, Jermey, and then we'll just say hello to the folks, and we'll kind of start moving in here with questions.
Well, that's awesome. Thanks for the introduction, sir. And yeah, thanks for you and Tony having me on. Yeah, sorry that Mr. Fry could not make it, but hey, we'll be doing this again. So it's a pleasure to talk to you guys this evening.
Not enough kids get exposed to male role models because it's typically you look at a lot more females are typically the caretaker, and well, again, I'm not sure what the stats are in Canada, but it's like in the United States, marriages I think are probably I don't know, you get probably I'll say 50. It's probably a 50 to 60% chance it's going to probably end up in divorce because people just get married too young. They don't have any real skills or what they're even understanding what marriage is all about, and they're good at reading repeat after me and all these kind of stuff, but they never really set in to think about forever, so that's tough. Our youth have I think a lot of shortcomings from not on their own, but because as the adult leadership has kind of dropped the ball around them.
And it takes a village to raise a child, so we need to strengthen our village. It
Yes.
can't be just these one-on-one things. You don't have to sit in your own little household and develop your own. No. You got to go out and, like you said, find those positive role models that are out there, and the more positive role models that we can get out there, the better. And even as I stated before, one of my favorite things is trying to find the young kids, the teenagers, who they can develop their own leadership qualities to help other kids, because then of course that's even better. It's one thing as me as an adult telling a kid that they could do something or this and that, but it's way more impactful when a teenager who is closer to their age and is cool that tells them that as well and says, hey, you can do this. And that's the ripple effect. That's throwing that pebble in the pond and watching the ripple effect, because then others are going to help others, because they'll always remember who got them there, and it's their village and their community, and we need to strengthen that as well.
Yeah, well, again, just like you said, the peer pressure, because every kid wants to kind of just belong to their group and stuff like that. So if you could get other like-minded kids, or at least get the kids all thinking the same path and stuff like that, you are building the leaders. You're building that leadership quality again. Overall, strong, positive character traits.
You just said it too. All they want to do is belong. Hey, I was never a whiz. Chemistry, algebra, man, they did not. That's not what I remember, And these kids, after everything that they've been through these last couple of years, just stuffing that down their throat is not the most important. They just want to be around their friends again, be around their community, and belong. Every kid wants to be accepted, and that's what we should all be striving for.
Yep, totally agree. Couldn't have said that. That was a perfect analogy there, Jeremy.
It goes back to what Dan was saying earlier about the phones and how parents are just letting that raise their kids. Oh, here, watch the screen. Parents need to step up to the plate and raise their kids. That's
Yeah.
instead of and show their kids right from wrong. And what Jeremy was just saying too, kids just want attention and to be appreciated. They don't know right from wrong. And then sometimes the only attention kids get is negative. And what do you think they're gonna do? Well, if I'm bad, they give me attention. And then they don't even realize that's what they're doing. It's just well, every time I do this, something bad, they actually pay attention to me. So I'm gonna go smash this and then it's just, subconscious after a while.
So true, so true. Not talked about enough. That point right there, Tony.
Parents need to step up to the plate. Parents need to step up to the plate and don't let other people raise your kids. You need to do it.
Yes.
It's and then we need to toughen up our next generation. It's unfortunate
it's leading by example is a huge deal, and parents are sometimes just being a little bit extra creative too, because it is a different world with these kids, but you can definitely find so much, because that's the one bonus that at least the interweb has. You can find anything online. You can find any information. You don't need to go to the library and read an encyclopedia anymore. It is right here at our fingertips. So if your child's interested in something, you can definitely find out about it, because you do have the exact same access that they do.
Well, and then it goes back to the parents too. Help them, show them what they need to, not what you want them, but what interests them. Instead of, as a kid, what's going to interest you more? Learning about history or learning about, watching bums fight on the street, or, just stupid shit, like people they want to watch the stupid shit that's not really going to show you what of course that's what you want to do when you have the choice, but there's other things that can interest you. But you got to give them also like a limit of, okay, you can only watch this for this long. You need to learn this first before you can have this fun and let
Yes, learning timetables. Yeah, I think that's really important, because just like as we said earlier, they'll watch that cell phone forever because that's the only interaction, or they're on that laptop forever. I mean, even as adults, we live in a very isolated society because most people are on their laptops. They're interacting with that laptop set to where people don't know how to look each other in the eye. They don't know how to shake hands anymore. But of course, last couple of years, you weren't even allowed to make hand-to-hand type of contact to that, because they're all afraid of 6 feet social distancing and things of that nature, because they're all afraid of spreading the COVID viruses and things of that nature. So again, got to get back to some type of more normal activities.
Absolutely.
Get out there.
You can combine it. You can use it. So I even think, like, I know parents really harp on the video game thing, but there's actually a lot where some of these kids who are playing things like Call of Duty, it is actually helping them learn some things where they could tell you all of the histories of the world wars and what dates and
Yeah.
where, and they could tell you what that plane is in the sky.
different
So
types
take
of
that.
guns and
Yeah.
magazine
So you can
attachments.
take that when you end up all of a sudden, okay, so in Buffalo, we have a Navy shipyard. Okay, so now my kid that's been playing those video games, let's go down to the Navy shipyard. Let's walk on those USS ships and let's see what they're all about live and in person. So I don't care. You can go back after and play some video games, but we're going to spend a day out. We're going to go get some burgers and we're going to walk around the Navy yard, and you can experience what you've been watching on TV live and see it and feel, what it's like to be there.
Yeah, no, you said it perfectly, because you gave them, okay, they've been playing it on the screen, and now they get to actually touch it, walk on it, see it for live in person. That's a very awesome experience in itself.
Yes, absolutely.
Yep.
So
So Dan was talking about role models and inspiration. So what about you, Jeremy? Who inspired you or to get into this industry, or someone you looked up to?
So as I said, I started my journey because of the Karate Kid movies, and I wanted to compete.
Who was your Miyagi?
My number one, I just want to go. I got to give it up. It's my mom. My mom, she's got a wonderful story too. She was a bipolar woman who she actually found out she was pregnant with me while she was in the mental hospital. But it was right there that she made the decision and committed to make sure I lived the best life possible. I grew up with a single mom, poor, on welfare. But when we found that martial arts connection, she found my way out. She made sure I wasn't going to be another statistic by getting me to the martial arts classes. And we didn't have no car. I didn't get drove to classes. She fed me after school, and I walked down to the bus stop and I went to go train. And
Wow. I mean, you did that at what age? I mean, that was like 7. Did you say 7?
7 to 10 years old, I was walking to that bus stop
Wow.
all the time. Yeah, until maybe I guess in the summer, sometimes I could ride my bike down there. Which is also probably something that's unheard of these days, is throwing their kid at 10 years old on a bike or a bus to go somewhere.
Okay, on a bike, you be that. You mean a motorized bike, or or
Oh no,
or,
I'm,
or,
I'm
or
riding my 10 speed. I'm riding a little
well,
10
again,
speed.
I'd be facetious because most kids now they don't know how to actually
Oh,
physically pedal. They jump on these electric scooters. They jump on everything is mobile.
yeah,
You
and I
know,
was actually almost looking at one, my river back here. I saw an electric surfboard, a motorized surfboard. I thought, that'd be kind of cool running down my river. But yeah, just jetting back, it's my mom. That was my role model. And then um, I lucked out to have a community, to have a village that supported me. And I could sit in the back of a van, I could sit on the floor of a van, and I could sleep on the hotel room floors of wherever we traveled. But I got a chance to compete. When I was in high school, I was everywhere. I saw Winnipeg, Manitoba. I saw Washington D.C., Chicago, Illinois, Tennessee. I was in Cookeville, Tennessee, where the hotel was in one time zone and the auditorium was in the other time zone. And all of this, I think, really developed me to be who I am, because I saw these other communities. I saw other people. And as we all know, whether it's the wrestling mats or a weight room, it's all similar. The football field, where at this moment, we're all together. We're in this as a team. There's no race, there's no religion, there's no classes, there's no rich or poor, black and white. And this is something that I learned from being on the roads. And so to me, I think that's some of the most valuable stuff that I learned growing up.
nice. Like I said, it's just you got a great story. A lot of you had some good support, but also you had a strong mom that made certain that you had opportunities. So it wasn't any kind of traditional household that you grew up into, but
There is
the
nothing
but
traditional at
there,
all.
there's not very many households that are very traditional anymore. That the days of watching the Waltons, that's long gone. We
Yeah.
live in that world. But I think as we started in the beginning of our conversation, that the family dynamic has changed. There isn't really a mom and a dad, and they're sitting around there, and dad's got his pipe in his mouth and stuff like that. No, that era is gone, and so men got to be cooks in the kitchen just as well as what women have to be cooks, and the whole nine. And then usually both people are in the workplace on top of all of that.
Yeah,
I think
I'm a better cook than any woman I've ever been with.
oh wow. That's fantastic.
Tony's a pretty good cook there, Jeremy. I've been down Fry's Open a few times, and Cody's puts up quite the spread there. So he
What's
is
on
good.
the Arizona barbecue out there? What is in that menu?
Whoa, man. We love the smoked pork,
Mm.
and then sausages, ribs. Yeah, there's some good places out here. You gotta love the barbecue.
Oh,
I got a Traeger in my backyard that can make some pretty mean ribs. Let me tell you.
really? Ooh. So when are we having an Arizona get together? Mr. Severn, when are you going back out to Arizona?
Well, actually, I'm slowly migrating that way. I'm in Chicago right now. I'll be. I just drove in this evening, and I will be doing a couple seminars tomorrow, and then on Sunday, if you saw how packed up my vehicle is, it's kind of like going. I look like the Beverly Hillbillies going down the road. But I've had right out to Arizona, and I will be out there for the winter months.
Things
Not
are
that I will
tied to the
be.
top of your roof and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I mean it's Tony has a lot of fun when I just say, hey Tony, use your imagination, come up with some kind of a comical picture. He's got all kinds of he's got all kinds of stuff all over the vehicle, even like a dead animal, which
Yep.
I mean, it really wasn't too far of a stretch because one of my last trips to Wyoming this past summer, I came face to face with either an antelope, mule deer, or a deer. It didn't stop to identify itself, but it totaled out my vehicle in the
Oh wow.
process.
No.
So that was a scary experience. I've never had a airbag go off in my face like that. So that's again, we've talked
Wow.
about that before, but that was how I was actually getting a little cocky with the because I made such good time driving from I think I was from Coldwater, Michigan, all the way to Cody, Wyoming, and that I was gonna get it early that morning. I actually called the promoter that was putting everything together. I said, you know, that Jeremy, I'm going to be at the hotel by such and such. We stop by. Why don't you stop by? We'll have a cup of coffee together. Probably half hour later, boom. Yeah.
Well,
And there
hopefully
was
smooth sailing to
nobody.
Arizona.
What's that?
I said hopefully smooth sailings
No,
all the way
no.
to
It'll
Arizona.
be. I've made that trip so many times. I could probably do it in my sleep.
So yeah, as long as nothing's jumping out at you, for sure.
Yeah,
I would love to
exactly.
come down there and see you guys one day. I would love to,
Yeah, we'll
especially
make it happen.
the cold of Canada. I would like to get down to some of that Arizona, beautiful warm
Well,
weather.
yeah, especially with again, Jeremy. As I've gotten older, I've gotten a little bit more intelligent there. Towards like, I don't want to be in Michigan during the winter time, even though the state motto is it's called the Water Winter Wonderland. Well, I like the water aspect. Um, I just don't like the winter aspects anymore. The novelty of driving in snow is long gone.
Mm.
Simply going out to your car to scrape a window or to start it on up, and even when you try to start that car, the car goes because it's cold too, you know.
Yep.
Dan,
So
does your lake, the water around your lake freeze? Is it that cold over there?
oh, in Michigan,
Yeah,
oh yeah, no,
around your island.
yeah, no, it'll all be froze. Well, Jeremy, what Tony's talking about is like basically a little over 3 years ago, I ended up buying another property. I have my training facility that's now in Coldwater, Michigan, but over in Howell, Michigan, which is roughly about an hour and a half drive away, kind of east of Coldwater. Um, I ended up I found better than a waterfront property. I ended up buying an island.
Oh wow.
I mean, it's so other people when they hear it, but no, it's not in the Caribbean or nothing like that. It's inside the United States. It's on freshwater. I I would be nervous if I had an island in the Caribbean because when you're swimming out in the ocean, there's lots of things out in the ocean that can hurt you and or kill you or eat you. And I'm going, you know, I simply know that when I'm out there in my little floaty in my lake, I don't have to worry about nothing coming after me.
Well, that sounds like a great time too, for sure. I'm
Yes.
sure you enjoy that in the summertime. It's got to be
Yeah,
beautiful.
it is. It's I've taken some pictures of it over time. It's turned into a much more beautiful property over the course of 3 summers. And literally, even as I was closing it down, I really just a couple weeks ago, I'm already like missing it because I know the additional projects I want to be working on just to keep bringing up another level, you know. So
Yeah.
I
Always.
refer to it. I refer to it as Gilligan's Island, and I think I'm Gilligan half the time there because I'm just a big goofball that's on there. That I never owned a boat before. I owned a canoe. Is the most, you know. Now I've got a pontoon boat to get to and fro,
Oh,
and so I mean it's pretty cool. The neighbors, no one can just simply just drop that in at you because they need a boat to come and see you.
yeah. Floating around on that pontoon would be great. You got to put some mats on it, bring some mats over to the island. You could have some little island fights and stuff like that.
I have a sand volleyball court that I've had because I contacted the local high school wrestling coach, and so I introduced myself as coming to an area. He knew I was. I go. I also need some laborers, and wrestlers are good workers. Because I Tony knows that I haul dirt and stuff like that over there, and I don't mean just a little bit of dirt. I'll have a dump truck
There's a
drop
lot.
like 10 yards, which is the biggest dump truck that they have, and it'll take 3-4 days, and that 10 yards of dirt is gone. I'm a proud owner of 40. I think I have 35 to 40 orange 5-gallon Home Depot buckets. So I literally, you're shoveling on shore, you shovel these buckets, then you grab the dolly and you wheel it over onto the pontoon boat. You set them all on there, and the pontoon boat will hold about just about close to 30 of them is what it will hold before it sets mighty low in the water. And I don't want to sink the pontoon boat as I go across. And literally that's how I'm putting in, different types of trees and things of that nature, because it's very interesting ground that's there, because there's a lot of trees and other vegetation, but when you try to dig a hole, it's not like digging a hole in a normal yard, because the roots are everywhere. They're looking for soil, and I could actually throw, say 6 or 8 inches of dirt on top of something, and literally in just a couple months' time, you go back there to try to dig, and you'd be surprised how many roots have already grown into those areas.
Oh,
Because
wow.
it's like it can always it can't really go out into water. It needs something right there. So I look at that, it's an investment into my property, but again, it's everything I do is just a little bit beautification and raising the value of the property. But then I just do things where, like this coming summer, to be a little shed that I could put in things, but I need a studio so I could do set up and to have stuff like what Tony's got. He's got a nice setup there with the American flag, and usually there's all kinds of tomahawks and guns and the whole 9 yards, because we're we're true Americans. Where we there you
There we
go.
go.
See, yeah,
Yeah.
you see all the weaponry now.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
So
Yeah, it's a
yeah,
sweet setup. That's a good setup.
yeah. But we've been here talking to Jermey Elliott, and he is the proud owner of the United Martial Arts Training Facility. He's no longer renting; he's the actual owner of it, where they teach all kinds of great character traits in the martial arts fields, classes for both kids and adults. And he also has a great opportunity coming up here on October 30th at St. Catharines, Ontario. He will be taking on Suzuki in a professional wrestling match here, and it will be a pancration style match.
Yeah, I'm assuming that's the as we said earlier, the part of the smorgasbord buffet that we're going to bring to the table. Obviously, I'm going to go with whatever he brings, and like I said, if he wants to strike, we're going to strike. If he wants to grapple, we're going to grapple. Who knows? He may, chuck a chair at my head as well. So I'll be ready for that.
You just never know when it comes
Yeah.
to the wacky world of professional wrestling as to what is going to happen. And if folks wanted to get tickets in advance, or where would they go?
Tickets on sale now at ticketmaster.ca or ticketmaster.com, depending on what side of the border you're from. There are still some floor seats available, I believe, that will get you into an early meet and greet. And as we said earlier, you got superstars like Rob Van Dam and Eric Bischoff, Bushwhacker Luke are all going to be in attendance. So they'll be doing a meet and greet. There'll be a couple pre-show matches. And then I want to say 7:00 is the first bell time. And it's going to be an amazing card. Like I said, Impact World Champion Josh Alexander's there. And hopefully it's our big arena. We're going to sell out as many seats as we possibly can. It will be definitely one of the biggest independent wrestling shows in Canadian history. I can guarantee that.
Fantastic. And Jeremy is coming from us live from right there in Niagara Falls, Canada, as he's at his training facility, the United Martial Arts training facility for kids classes, adult classes. And if parents and our kids want to find out more information about that, go to your website.
www.ufmaniagara.com for more information.
Fantastic. Tony, any other questions?
I think we're good. That was good. But
Any
yeah,
other things
we're gonna,
that you want to do that you want to promote here, Jeremy?
well,
As
so
we're
we got to get Jeremy out here. We'll make it happen. We'll make you some good old Arizona barbecue.
I would love to come out. That's a definite deal. I'm going to hold you guys to that.
I thought you was going to offer like maybe like some slightly roasted scorpions and then maybe a little rattlesnake or something like that.
That's what I was talking. What do you think Arizona barbecue is?
Oh,
Hey,
there you go.
Hey,
There
if
you
it's
go.
meat, we'll go for it. I'm a carnivore.
Some roadkill stew, some squirrel.
Hey, I'm sure by the sounds of it, if you got all these smokers and stuff like that, you got some sauce seasoning and smoke.
That's right.
It's going to be delicious.
You won't even know.
No, I won't care either. No, for sure.
I'm sure we'll get together. We will break bread and we'll do another episode of Toxic Masculinity. It's been a true honor and pleasure to have Mr. Jeremy Elliott on tonight's episode. This basically concludes another episode of Toxic Masculinity. If we happen to offend or defend anyone here tonight, well, put your man panties back on because we're men talking about manly things here. And you still have the right to watch us or not.
That's right.
All right.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Sign it off.
Appreciate it.
It was awesome.
Take care there, Jeremy.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you for watching another episode of Dan and Don's Toxic Masculinity. You better like, subscribe, and share, or I'm going to come to your house.